Space critters. So a lizard is nothing more than a dragon. These are. This is not the smallest one. The ones that go inside folks' eyeball in the corner. Usually about from there to here, and they're skinnier than a damn worm. But for just to speed things up, just picked any random one that had no legs, so you see that the legless lizard, which is nothing more than a dragon, is around. These are doubles. The punishment. When they draw on Earth, they gotta live in things that are tinier than a worm. But that thing can go inside your eyeball. And I want you to pay attention to something real quick. Hold on. Just on your cartoons they put in front of kids' face. How a regular man turned to a lizard man. They're gonna call him the nemesis of Spider-Man.
He was once a gifted surgeon who turned into the cold-blooded nemesis of Spider-Man. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll explore the comic book origins of Dr. Curt Connors, otherwise known as the Lizard.
Just hold that pose, Smiley.
As with most...
Now when a lizard goes inside, eventually they change. Right? So that's one way they clone people, hold them down, lizard go inside them and they change them. Or they can take a piece of your DNA or a piece of hair. Now, on this one, I think they took a piece of his hair because this is the real Dave Chappelle. The real Dave Chappelle had a health issue where he couldn't gain no weight. No matter how he tried, how hard he tried, the man could not gain no weight. This fella couldn't gain no weight. So who's this guy? The lizard clone. Ain't that a bitch? Now, pay attention.
I would like to talk about someone who was very dear to me. And so there will be no
Hold
more.
on. About a segment, there will be no music. But listen to his cousin.
Some of you have laughed at his comedy. Some of you have who he is. Some of you have laughed at his comedy. Some of you have gone to shows and have fallen out of your seats or your chairs or what have you because of the comedy that he gave you. And that person is my cousin, David Chappelle. David Chappelle.
Now, I would like you to know that they are disguising the voice because the original video has her voice on it. They're disguising the voice. They must be doing it to protect her. Let her tell
Chappelle and I were first cousins. And I'm not going to continue saying David Chappelle. I'm going to use his first name because I've already introduced him and I as cousins, first cousins, and we are the Chappelles. Okay, David and I, we were very, very close. There were times when David and I would talk. I had his cell phone number and he had mine, and we would talk for hours on end. There was nothing that David would not or could not tell me, and vice versa with me to him. I mean, David had lots of Chappelle family members, and he had lots of cousins. But somehow or another, David and I, we became very close as family cousin members. And, and we just felt comfortable around each other. David was my yin and I was his yang, or vice versa, as you want to put it, but we were very close. Okay, David was married to his wife Elaine, as some of you all may know. She was a Filipino. She is a Filipino, and his mother's name was, we called her Auntie Vaughn, and he has a brother. His brother is named after David's father, William. He's a junior. And then David has a sister whose name is Felicia. And she is a full practicing Muslim. Well, David was he was a Muslim as well. And him and his wife Elaine has two sons along with a daughter, and their names, I'm not going to give you out their names, but they have names of Muslims. So now, that's the initial concept of what I'm going to, what I've said about the relationship that David and I have had together. Okay, now David loved his wife. He loved Elaine. He loved Elaine very much, and he loved his mother, especially after his father had died, because his mother was the only thing that he had that he could cherish at that time, and even today. And so he loved his wife, he loved his mother, and most of all, David loved his family, and he loved the farm. And as some of you may know, he has a farm in Delaware Springs, Ohio, and he has a special name for that farm, which I'm not going to discuss about, but he calls that farm a certain name. Now, and on that farm is acres and acres of land. And I'm telling you, David was a responsible person when it came to his wife, his children, his mother, his family, and particularly their farm. Okay. As some of you may know, David had the Chappelle comedy show. And David was doing good on that show. I mean, he was doing great. And David loved that show. David has always loved to make people laugh. And, laugh sometimes until your stomach hurts or tears come out your eyes. He was very, very funny. And David has always been a funny type person ever since the time he was a young boy, much, much younger. And even when he would come to the family reunions, he would always, he would be the in the spotlight making the family laugh, just laugh. And this is something that he always wanted to be, a comedian, to make people laugh. Well, come the time when David, he was the executive producer of the Chappelle comedy show, and as I stated before, he was doing fine. He was doing great. But David knew he had to be responsible for his wife, his children, his mother, and the farm, and for the rest of the members of the Chappelle family. And so he had to take things very serious and take the responsibility very heavy or high. So he did the Chappelle comedy show, and one day he was called into the executive office. And so David went in, and when he went there, he saw all of these executives and others that were around this table, and they had David surrounded like a clock, 12. Okay, and it made David a little nervous because he thought he was talking to a few executives, but not a whole slew of them and other people as well. So he went in to talk to the executive, and they had him surrounded, like a clock, and he being at the center of as number 12. Like a clock. Picture in your mind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all of them surrounded, and David was at the top, being number 12. Okay, do you get my drift now? Okay, so now, and I also want to say this as well, before I really get into detail about what they said and what they did to David. Now, it's just like when you go for a job, and they want you on that job for a certain period of time, or even a short period of time. When you go on the job, you have papers that you have to sign before you can even, have that position in that facility or what have you. So you have to sign a piece of paper, and especially if they want you there for a long period of time and you are on a salary, not paid per hour, but on a salary. Okay, so you're going to have to sign a piece of paper, and that states that you are with that company and you're there for that period of time. And that is sort of like a contract. Well, for David to have his own show, the Chappelle show, even though he was the executive producer of that show, he still had to sign a contract. Now, some of you are thinking that he signed his name in blood before he left the executive office, but I'm here to tell you he did not. The only thing David signed when he first got into the industry or the entertainment world to appear on the Chappelle Show was a contract stating that the Chappelle Show would go on for a certain length of time for that season. You understand what I'm saying to you? For that season. Then after that season was up, then he would sign another contract for the next season. And it went on like that. And, so, when David went into the office, to the executive office, he had just finished up the second season. Okay. Now, so they had him at this table, and there was the executives as well as others who were in the office as well. So they asked David, they told him he was doing fine on the show. Great, the show was great, David, but except for one exceptional thing. And David asked, what? And they told David they wanted him to upgrade, or downgrade, I should say, on the black race. As far as the characters he was portraying. They wanted David to ease up off, making the black characters look as stupid as he was portraying them. They wanted him to ease up off the black race. They wanted him to make the black race more intellectual, more, you get what I'm saying. They wanted him to quit it.
The Boule did that with some of the white executives. Why? Because they knew that Obama would be the first, which is bullshit. He'd be probably the 8th or 9th black president, to be honest. Okay, but they called him the first black president, although he was not one of us. He's a Hamite. Yeah. And he's a girl. And his wife is a man. Too much evidence out there. And them kids is not theirs. You can look all this up. You'll see them telling you the truth.
To quit, just hopping on the black race and making them look nonsense. Well, David said, to the executives and then some who were in the room, I don't understand what you're talking about. He said, because I portray the characters of the black race just like I portray the characters of the white race. And I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to keep both of them on the same level. Well, they didn't mind David downgrading on the white race, but they wanted him to quit downgrading, period, on the black race.
Right.
And they was.
You know why? Because everybody's gonna look at Obama to be their savior, and a lot of y'all did, and you got played.
So no, but I can't do that. And so then they said, okay, David, we're gonna make a deal with you. And David said, a deal? They said, yes, a deal. They told David, we'll give you $50 million. $50 million if you could come and join our team and be a part of us and this and that. And they told him some other things, which I'm not going to discuss. But you can rest assured the things that they said to David, to tell him what he could do and what he couldn't do and this and that. And then the torture that they had and the pressure that they put pressure on this man, on David at that time of the meeting. Okay, and David said, no, well, if I accept $50 million from you, what would my fans think? And they said to David this, well, your fans already think that you are a crack addict from the characters that you portray. David, they already think that, that you're a pothead, that you're a drug head. So, it doesn't matter what your fans think, it's what you are willing to accept. And then they went on to put the pressure on him once more. And David, he said, no. I can't accept it. I can't accept the $50 million, and I cannot stop portraying the black race as the same as the white race. He said, no, I can't do it. I can't. You all want me to stop making the black race look foolish.
Now, to speed the video up, we're going to go to the part where she says they killed him, although she pretty much told you already what's going to go down. Hold on. Just for sake of keeping this whole video one video.
To be foolish in the roles or the characters that he was playing was because at that time, they knew, they had gotten word of that eventually there was going to be a black man to be ushered in as our new president. And they wanted,
as your so-called black savior, to trick the black people, and a lot of y'all fell for it.
where? And I said, you got to go. He said, yes, I got to get out of here. I said, David, out of here where? He said, I'm going to Africa. And he said, I said, well, David, you're going to Africa? He said, I got to get my head clear. I got these things. He said, I just have to have my own peace of mind. And I said, well, have you told? He said, well, what about Elaine, David? He said, well, I'll deal with Elaine. I'll call Elaine later. He said, but right now I got to go. Now, and I found out later, the only person that David had told of going to Africa was me, his brother William, and I think there was a possibility that it was Neil Brennan. And there's a highly thinkable on that. So David went on, and when I told David before before our conversation, I said, David, you go and do what you have to do. And I said, but let me know when you get back in town. Okay. Some of you asked, why did he go to Africa? Because David was a practicing Muslim. And David went to Africa because he knew his faith was over there, his faith. And he knew that practicing Muslims was over there, and they would guide him or steer him in the right direction. Because now, his sister was and is today a practicing Muslim. Now, remind you now.
Oh, we're gonna get to the part where he comes back.
So really good that David got the hell away. David went away to Africa. Stayed there for a while. When David got ready to come back, David called me and said, cuz, I'm back in town. Well, he let his wife know, and everything was fine there. And David, when he called me, he told me, he said, I'm out of the entertainment world. I don't want to do comedy on television anymore. He said, I'm finished with it already. I'm finished. I said, Dave, are you sure? He said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with being on television, doing comedy. He said, what I want to go back to is doing comedy at the little local comedy places. And I said, well, David, are you sure that's what you want? He said, yeah, because he said, I have enough money to take care of my family and my farm and my mother and people in my family. He said, but I just don't want to do any comedy on television. He said, I'm done. And so I'll just do the local comedy at comedy clubs. So I said, okay, David. I said, well, I'm not, this is what you want to put there, David. Once again, I want to ask you, David, did you sign your name in blood before you left when you were in the executives meeting? And so David, because I told you, I didn't sign my name in any, hey, cuz, the only time I signed my name on the contract was to do the Chappelle show. And he said, and I'm done. I'm done with that now. But as far as me signing any other contract, as far as what they say, name and blood, no, I didn't do that. I said, okay, David, that's good. I just want to make sure, this time. So anyway, while talking to David, he gave me a sense of hope. That David was going to be all right because he was finished with the, this Chappelle show, the comedy show on television, and then he wasn't going to do any more appearance on any other, show. And so it gave me a sense of relief for him. But somehow or another, and I still give a question mark on this Neil Brennan, because now Neil Brennan spoke some bad words about David, and which I don't like, and David heard about it, and he didn't like it either. And so, because Neil Brennan was supposed to be one of Dave's David's buddies. And for him to say, to make a statement like he did, it was wrong. It was wrong. And I didn't like it, and the rest of the Chappelle family, we didn't like it, they didn't like it, and normally at these little local comedy clubs and things like that. Then this one person, it was put upon her to find out why David went to Africa.
Oprah Winfrey.
So now, first, David went to the inside the actor's studio. He was asked to come and be on the show with the host there. And
that's when he spoke to that white man, and he told him that maybe the way they do things is sick. And then after that, he went on Oprah, so Oprah set his ass up. Hold on.
And that how this whole thing was kind of shaking, and he didn't want no parts of him. Then he also went and he told about Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence, they did the same thing to him too. But Martin Lawrence, and no one today, we have not seen Martin Lawrence. No one knows where Martin Lawrence is. Because you know what?
We seen in the movie recently because he got cloned.
Martin Lawrence is dead. I mean,
boom, and they cloned his ass. That's not the real Martin. And I'm pretty sure if you pay attention, you can tell it's not the real Martin. He don't even look like Martin.
Body, soul, spirit, dead. If you ever see a Martin Lawrence come back on the scene, it's because that Martin Lawrence, before they killed him, they made a clone of Martin Lawrence, and they have that clone in waiting.
Boom.
Waiting for what? I don't know. Has seen Martin Lawrence. No one knows anything about Martin Lawrence anymore. But if you ever, and I say to you all who all are listening, if you see Martin Lawrence, then you know that he's a clone. And they were supposed to, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith was supposed to be, they supposed to have done a film that was supposed to have came out last summer to quit on the blacks, because Oprah ushered him in. Oprah was in favor of Obama getting into office. Oprah was behind Obama, on the side of Obama, as might as well say in front of Obama. She got him into office. And I said, David, I told you not to go on that show. He said, well, I'm done. I'm done. Now, David, finally, once and for all, he got to know where Oprah Winfrey was coming from. David didn't trust Oprah Winfrey, and he was glad that the show was over with. And David told me that when he left Oprah Winfrey, he had to keep looking over his shoulder because he didn't trust Oprah. And well, nobody that, any of us, we know that Oprah is one of the queen bees, dark bees of the Illuminati.